Hi, so today I'm joined by Andrew Heathcote, the CEO and founder of Origins of Motion, a promotional video agency. We're here to talk about excellent content marketing and video marketing in particular. So thanks for coming on, Andrew.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. So my first question is kind of more of a looking at the mistake side of marketing and video content. So what are brands getting wrong at the moment with their video content?
So, by the way, I don't always get this right. So I don't want right straight at the top of the podcast, like everybody else is doing it right, and I've got all the answers. But I think, like with any types of marketing, it's a very broad topic, and you can go wrong in a lot of different ways. But I think some of the kind of typical mistakes that we make is that we create. I think sometimes there's a tendency to listen to the client a bit too much, and you can end up producing content which is a bit bland or a bit corporate, which, in the right circumstance, that can fulfill a really important role. If the purpose of that video content is to sit on, a large organization's website and to be informative and to educate, then, that might be fulfilling its objective, and that's absolutely fine. In other cases, it's horribly boring and no one's going to watch it. So that's mistake. I think another mistake is kind of not thinking about the distribution. So I think this is a big one. I started kind of our company like 5 years ago, and particularly in the early days, we were working with like very small businesses, and the number one mistake was that we'd make this video, we'd be really proud of it, we hope they were proud of it too, and then they'd release it to Facebook, everyone's really excited, and because obviously Facebook was the thing then, kind of thing. Then nothing else ever happened with it. They might have put, £2,000-3,000 into this little video, and yeah, it's just that's it. They don't know what to do with it after that. It goes on the website, not getting any traffic to the website. So I think thinking about the distribution is really, really important. And I suppose the third thing, which the side that I like, I guess, is trying to be. It's not a mistake necessarily, but I think whenever you can try and be as creative as possible, I think that's a great thing. That's what we all like about marketing, I guess, is getting people's attention and doing things that stand out.
Great. And other than your recent video, kind of want to make money, which has been in my head for a long time, what are some of the latest video campaigns that you've really liked in the marketing world?
So it's an interesting question. So funnily enough, I don't really watch very much TV. So like a lot of the adverts that are kind of circulating, like the latest adverts, I don't tend to kind of really watch. But the online ads I kind of see quite a bit. There's some companies over in the States that I follow and that I really like. These may not be like kind of the latest campaigns, but like I've always loved like Dollar Shave Club. Have you seen those campaigns?
I can remember the original one. I haven't really kept on top of the recent ones.
That's not a recent example by any stretch. But there are companies that we follow over in the States who do kind of similar things to what we do, and kind of, I find really inspiring. And some of their videos are really great. So there's one that is, I think I wrote it down actually, which is Squatty Potty. That's it.
Squatty Potty.
It's for a product called Squatty Potty.
Okay.
And the slogan, right, is the number one way to number two.
Love it.
It's very great. It's very kind of Dollar Shave Club. Like I love that type of content because it just appeals to my sense of humor. And there's another campaign that was created by the same company that was for it was for, I think it's Chatbooks. That is right, yeah, Chatbooks, which is, again, it's that kind of really humorous approach. I think this company in particular that I follow, they're very much, it's highly creative content and they distribute it really well. So I think it's a real inspiration for kind of for me and my company and what we aim to do and we're trying to kind of accomplish, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the Dollar Shave Club example is absolute unicorn, isn't it? Because it was just, I think it cost him something like $800 or something silly like that, and it got 100 million views or something, and the return on investment of that is just unreal. But yeah, it is just humor, I suppose, wasn't it, with that?
Yeah, and I think those videos, they're very cleverly written scripts, and there's a lot of time and a lot of attention kind of gone into it. I think like whenever you kind of think, there's a tendency to think, there's this kind of like really creative idea, or they've gone down a funny route. At least they've gone down a funny route. And I think you kind of think, well, they're just being kind of loud and out there, and that's how they get their attention. But so often when you actually analyze those scripts, they're so well written. And I think like the marketing messages within them are, often very clear as well. So that's like the original, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the gold. And I suppose the other videos that I've mentioned are along the same lines. We created one we basically created our own kind of little version of like a Dollar Shave Club video. It was like 3 years ago or something, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And we literally just ripped off Dollar Shave Club. And we initially put it on Facebook, and it never kind of really went very well.
Yeah.
And a colleague of mine was like, let's put it on LinkedIn, like sort of 10 months ago, something like that. And that was one of our bits of content that really blew up and went great, which was kind of fun. Yeah.
Great. And just touch on the kind of curation process when you're looking to create videos. What does that look like? Do you kind of storyboard everything, or where does your inspiration and ideas come? And could you just explain to everyone the process you go through?
Yeah. So to tell you the truth, we don't necessarily have a set process. So it will kind of really range on, it will depend upon the type of video that we're creating. If it's kind of down more the corporate route, or it's videos for LinkedIn or social media, we tend not to storyboard. We tend to keep things really stripped back. And, for example, if it's interview led, then we let the interview lead, and we kind of build the story from there. So that's kind of one way of working. The other way of working really is just to all kind of hands on deck. We've got a team of 6 people, so kind of our approach is like anybody can come up with a great idea. Just because Michael is a cinematographer doesn't mean that he. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of golden nugget of an idea. So really, it is just about collaboration. And I think different people work well in different ways. I definitely am someone who likes to bounce ideas off of people and feed off of other people's energy. And I think it's all about that. And we just kind of have this kind of understanding, I guess, that we've tried to develop of like you hear it a lot, don't you? No idea is a bad idea. Sometimes you chuck out an idea and everyone looks at you like you're an idiot. But I think for me, that's the most important part of the process.
Yeah.
Obviously, the client is always involved kind of prior to that process. So it's kind of always an understanding of, right, okay, what do you want to achieve? What's our end goal? What's the message, et cetera, with the client. We then go away and we have this kind of big kind of like brain dump, and we put all these things out there. And then we try and kind of hone it from there, and we put together kind of mood boards. Storyboards definitely kind of plays a part. Our creative process tends to be kind of that brainstorm, then tends to be, we come out of that with like an idea that we're most fond of. We then tend to script that idea, and then we kind of add the visuals to it. So we storyboard and add visuals to it after that. Then we go back to the client, and kind of it goes from there, really.
Yeah. And is that all kind of just on paper? Or are you doing it on boards or anything? Or I suppose it's different right now with everything that's going on. Do you use any software or anything like that to put it all together?
We use, just across the board in our business, we use Monday.com. So we use that for all kind of project management stuff. So any ideas that we have kind of project related, they go on a tab relating to that specific project. And that's how we try and kind of keep it all organized. So, all of our team members like to work in different ways. My colleague Joe is like very, he's, Generation Z, and he's Gen Z. And he, everything is on some bit of software somewhere. Whereas I like pen and paper. I like to write things down. I like to scribble on a board. But we always make sure that we just take pictures of that stuff, and then we kind of, bring it all together in Monday.com. That works quite nicely for us. Yeah.
Great stuff. And then the kind of important question here is what does make it really successful? The video content side.
What do you mean in terms of like, why is video good for marketing? Or
so what goes into making it a video really kind of hit? What makes a hit video basically?
So I think it's, first and foremost, I think it's really understanding the platforms that you're going to be distributing on. That goes, that will go into kind of, that will sort of seep through the production. For example, a client wants us to produce content for TikTok. Obviously, we want to produce vertical video as opposed to horizontal. So little decisions like that kind of factor in. Knowing the distribution is really important because it kind of tells us, as much as anything, how quickly we want to get into our sort of core message, or how quickly we need to, capture people's attention, and what opportunity we've got to do that. If we're producing a campaign for YouTube, it might have a different feel the start of that video to something that is for LinkedIn, but it might be applicable to both. So I think that's really important. I think having an understanding that you do have really the necessity to capture people's attention is very important. Like, I think, you see so many videos online which kind of just indulge the filmmakers that have made them. And they're like incredibly shot, but there's no real reason for it having taken that creative direction, other than the fact that like the director wanted to use some rowers. I saw a video around this once where the product was a pram, like a kid's pram, this like high-end kid's pram, and they decided to combine like these sort of nice product shots with the story of a guy rowing on a river, and it just made absolutely no sense, other than like the cinematographer was great and the shots looked amazing, but it didn't hang together other than that. So I think sometimes that can happen. Like, I think if you're commissioning video production companies, you kind of need to be, I don't know, if you're the marketeer, I guess, a lot of video companies aren't coming at it from that marketing point of view. They're coming at it from a point, I want to make a film that I love, I think I went on a tangent there, but I'm not sure.
No, it's good. It's good. Awesome. So on to some kind of quick fire questions now, and the answers don't have to be quick fire, but what brands inspire you right now, and what do you think they're doing right?
What brands inspire me right now? That is a really tough question. In terms of video, do you know what, like the videos that really inspire me are those that I see on like crowdfunding platforms. So it's not necessarily a specific brand, but I think like their campaigns that I often see, that I think they're really inspiring, because it's like when we were talking about kind of Dollar Shave Club. It may have cost them like $800 or whatever, but the video is incredible. And I think like the resourcefulness of some of those companies, because they're putting things together on a shoestring, is incredible. And the videos that they come out with, because the resources they've got are maybe more time, and their enthusiasm, they're at the start of the journey, things that they come up with and the wacky angles and stuff. I think that's really inspiring. So that doesn't immediately answer your question, but
that's good. It's a good answer. I think, like, just to touch on that, I think I've noticed the same thing about Kickstarter and things like that, where you see their videos. And I think part of that probably comes from when you have a founder's vision that's so strong, and then they probably work with a kind of person like yourself to get that across. It's mixing that passion and the professionalism. So that's probably why that's probably a reason why those videos are really good. But
really strong idea of their outcome as well, haven't they? So like, again, going back to kind of the mistakes that people sometimes make with video is, you're not really that clear on your outcome. Do you want to generate leads off this? Do you want to put it into a paid campaign? Is it, what is your outcome? But those guys have got a very, very clear idea, and so therefore they're very motivated to take a risk, or to do something a bit different, or to make sure the message is absolutely crystal clear before they move on to production. So I think that helps.
Great. So what tools and software, whether it's in, I know we've mentioned Monday.com already, what tools or software should people in video marketing be using?
So I think the biggest one, a very simple tool for me, is rev.com. It's not just kind of one-off video productions that we do, it's also like LinkedIn content and stuff. And particularly when you come to that social media side of things, it's a really obvious bit of advice, it seems to me at least, but to be subtitling everything is really, really important. So rev.com is just a subtitling sort of platform, and it's very cheap, and it's very easy really to kind of implement, saves you lots of time. So rev.com is would be my recommendation, I guess.
Great. And would you mind sharing what editing software you use for your videos?
Yeah, so we've actually transitioned. So we were using Premiere Pro, so that's Adobe software, and we have transitioned back to using Final Cut Pro 10, which was a controversial discussion in our office at the time. But actually, having moved back over, because I say back over because when I started the business like 5-6 years ago, I was using Final Cut, and that's what I used for a number of years until we kind of then started growing the team, and the team were just used to using Premiere, so that's what we did. But we found like recently Premiere to be very buggy, like again, like stuff like subtitling and things which should be very, very easy just can end up taking a lot of time. And Final Cut, you know, since we've started using it again, we've just found more enjoyable, to be honest. I think you've got a lot of the same functionality, but it's kind of just a bit more user friendly and we found it more enjoyable to use. So yeah.
Great. In terms of books or blogs or podcasts, and this doesn't have to be on video, but it'd be great if it is. But it can be around marketing. Is there any books or anything you recommend for people to learn more?
So the book I'm reading at the moment is by a guy called Lucas Senatore. We're based in Cambridgeshire. He's based in Cambridgeshire as well. I know him from kind of local business sphere, but he's built a really successful agency, which is they deal with retail only brands, and they do kind of like paid ads and stuff for retail only brands. And it's called the book. Let me look that up. That he has released is called. I think it's called The Agency Build, Grow, Repeat.
Okay.
I haven't finished that book yet, I'll be honest. I'm really enjoying it. I just think it was, really practical. I suppose I'm in a headspace right now, as a lot of people will be, during the kind of lockdown and everything of, how do we take things forward after this? How do we improve? How do we become more? How do we, it's just that period of reflection. So this book I found really useful because it's just really practical. Some of the things I feel like, I probably already know, but I'm not doing, or it's a great reminder. And it's just kind of packaging it all together. So it's a really easy kind of process of, right, do this, then do this, then do this. And hopefully that will help us grow our little agency.
Good stuff. Where do you think marketing professionals should be spending most of their time when creating video content?
Where should they be spending most of their time?
Where should be spending like 80% of the time, if in that Pareto law kind of principle?
I think they should be spending most of their time thinking about their audience. Most of their time thinking about, the messaging and what's going to land, because I think, there have actually been studies done of like, right, if you have a video worth 100K, you have a video worth 10K, and you have a video worth 1K. I don't know who's done this study, but I'll send that through to you after. But there have been these studies where they've compared, right, does that mean a better result if you spend 100K? And like, quite obviously, it all comes back to what the message is and how, well crafted that is in terms of bringing that to life. But I think if you spend all your time thinking about, target audience, how they think, how they behave, what their buying process is, then you leverage your video content from that. And my belief is it will be so much more powerful as a result.
Great. A bit of a random one, if you could place an ad with anywhere in the world with any message on it, where would it be and what would it say?
Okay. So anywhere in the world, I think I would have to place an ad, prime time, halftime Super Bowl ad, like TV commercial.
$1 million every 30 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not paying for it, so I'm just going to put it. And, what would it say? I think my message would be, the reason that I'd want to do that is because I just think that's, I stayed up to watch the Super Bowl this year, and like the ads were so like I just loved it, and I love the whole like tradition of people staying up to watch the ads. It's a bigger part of that as the game. But I think my message would just be like, particularly right now, and particularly with everything going on, I think it would just be just be kind and yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Where can people find you if they want to hear more? And do you have any request of the audience?
So the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. So my full name is Andrew Heathcote, and that is, as you would expect, my LinkedIn, how you can find me on LinkedIn. And yeah, just to connect and say hi, and yeah, just I try and keep an open dialogue and try and follow along with people's journeys on LinkedIn. So that's the main place. And if they feel like checking out some of our work, it's originsofmotion.co.uk.
Perfect. And yeah, I mean, I definitely would recommend people to give you a follow on LinkedIn, because you're producing a lot of content at the minute. And that's anything from just sharing kind of your videos that you're producing, or just general personal stuff that's quite interesting. So you made a video about deleted LinkedIn off your apps and things like that. And they're just generally interesting videos. So I just want to echo that.
Yeah, thanks.
No worries. And kind of just the final question to end. To summarize this podcast in a single sentence or maybe a short paragraph, what do you think would make people excellent in the area of video marketing?
I think to make you excellent in the area of video marketing, be willing to stand out, to think differently. And I think that's okay if not everybody gets it. And to think about distribution. Great.
Awesome. Well, I've loved that, Andrew. So thank you very much. And I'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on. And yeah, best.
Cheers. Thank you.